In this episode, I'm here with Greg Head, former Chief Marketing Officer of Infusionsoft and co-founder of SalesLogix, two companies that in his time have hit $100 million in revenue. And today, we're going to be talking about how to massively grow a business with Greg.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce, and welcome to another episode of the GSD Show. Today I'm here with Mr. Greg Head. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Mike. Glad to be here.
Man, I'm so glad to be. Here's the thing. I've seen you speak before. I know I have, and because you have done some big things with Infusionsoft. You were there since they were just a $15 million company. It's pretty big still, but you were a big part of them going to 100 million. I've been at every Infusionsoft conference for like the last 6 years. And so I've seen you, and it's really great to be able to have you here and learn some of the stuff, not only that I've learned from you on these stages, but also what you've learned from being a part of such a quick growing company. Well, probably one of the fastest growing companies here in Arizona.
And that's right.
Right.
And I've spent most of my career with those kind of fast growing companies, right?
Yeah, well, 30 years of software experience, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then tell me about SalesLogix. So you were a co-founder there as well.
Yeah. So at Infusionsoft, I ran the marketing team, and at SalesLogix here based in Scottsdale, we started the company 20 years ago. I ran marketing, international, a whole bunch of other things. It was another sales and marketing software company for mid-sized companies, not the very smallest of companies. So now we call it customer relationship management, but it was the beginning of that industry when nobody was doing it, and now everybody's doing it. And so that company grew up from the startup, up to a scaled up company.
And now you're working with early stages CEOs, right? And
Yeah.
your goal is to help them develop with everything you've learned from these massive companies.
Yeah, I work with the crazy ones who say this is going to be big, and someday I'm going to own 10 locations, or I'm going to change the world, or
and you
I'm
keep
going to get
honest.
funding. And well, they're not crazy.
Right.
The world needs this, right? Show me somebody who's got an up and running business, and I'll show you the crazy one-man band who started running around, and everybody said, when are you going to get a real job? And then they went and figured it out. There's always a crazy person who says, this world needs to change, and we need to do it. And that's why your entrepreneurs are out there doing it every day. They see something needs to happen in the world, and nobody else is going to do it.
And the funny thing is, a lot of them look at the rest of the world as crazy.
Yeah,
right?
That's fine. Well, I think, I spent time with hundreds of CEOs, right? Mm-hmm. And a few of them actually crazy, probably, but most of them are just doing things that aren't normal, right? Mm-hmm. We're just abnormal. That's okay. And I think 95% of the world walks around in whatever is.
Right.
The job.
It's normal. It's normal
a
to
street,
complain about your job on
business,
Monday.
It's a building.
Mm-hmm.
All this is made up. This building was made up by somebody.
Right.
That street was made up by somebody. That job was made up by somebody.
Right.
And so there's literally less than 10% of people in the game that say, I know it's all made up. I'm going to make something new up, and then I'm going to have you believe it.
Right.
And that's where all this stuff comes from.
That's awesome. And we're going to be talking with Greg a lot about what you've been able to learn. Like, what are the main things? What are the main things that these companies did right?
Yes.
Because, like you said, they were struggling, and a lot of businesses, my business struggled in the very beginning until we had a few principles down and we understood it. And one of them, you and I were kind of talking before the show, you were saying just really understanding that one thing, right? Yeah. So tell me more about that.
Well, if you look at any successful business, Amazon, Lululemon, anything that everybody knows about, now Cold Stone Creamery, right? They don't do anything else. They could, but they don't do anything else, right? Amazon is now into rockets, but for years they were just books, right? They totally dominated. But nobody sees at the beginning that either they ran around for a while seeing what was going on in the world, many things to many people, or they had the option to do it before they selected what their thing is. So there's always, And we don't get to see that. We just see the end result if it's successful, and we don't see.
It's like an overnight success to everyone else.
Yeah, and we just don't see the decisions they made, the choices not to do, right? Like Chick-fil-A could make hamburgers tomorrow.
Right.
Easily, but they don't.
Right.
We don't see that, right? And Steve Jobs says, I'm just as proud of the 1,000 things we didn't do
Right.
than the few 4 things we do. So there's always this exercise when you get into business of ADD, running around, surviving, getting up and running, seeing what's in the world. Then you actually have to not just add water and do more of everything, more advertising, more sales guys, more everything. You actually have to kind of narrow down what you're best in your market for somebody,
Right.
for something important, right?
Yeah.
And
you
so
know-
you show me something that's up and running, and I'll show you how they sorted out a focus and a
Well, and
specialization.
when Steve Jobs initially got removed from Apple,
Right.
they didn't have as many products as they did during the time he took that break. And they started adding a bunch of stuff, printers, scanners, all that stuff. And then when he came back,
Yeah.
one of the first things he did was rip all that
He
stuff
ripped
off
it all out.
and dropped to like 4 main things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Went
they
from
had
there.
the Mac, and then he said, we're going to put all of our effort to the iMac. Remember that colorful,
Yeah.
shaped, modernist personal computer, right? Which wasn't a massive revolution, but it was a wow,
Right.
And it showed what they were capable of. And before that, the Apple laptop sucked. They had the Newton, which didn't work.
Right.
I worked right next door to them. They shipped all this stuff, and they were literally bankrupt. And they started doing the one thing. So it takes a huge force of energy in specializing for one group to do one thing, right? And aim all the guns on that to actually serve them well and have them say, wow, that was really great. So in the fitness industry, right, we think everybody wants to be healthy and fit.
And everyone's definition of healthy and fit is different. You have this
Right.
woman that wants to lose 40 pounds. You have this girl that wants to gain a few pounds because she
Yeah.
feels like she doesn't have enough muscle.
Yeah.
And so there's so many different types of goals, and everyone wants to help everyone with everything.
But I mean, even just the first couple cuts, which is, by the way, 50% of people don't even want to get off the couch.
Right.
Okay, so let's
Right.
not focus on them.
Right.
Right? Don't advertise to them. Please don't do that,
Right.
right? And then some people want to just walk around the block, and some people want to show up at a fitness center. So we're talking about maybe 10% of the population that could be interested in a more intensive, personalized, successful, fitness program, right?
Right.
And so that's actually the first myth is when you start. Is I want to be big, so I'm going to market to everybody. But you can cut out 50% of any market that isn't serious about it, right?
Right.
Like all the entrepreneurs I deal with, most of them aren't serious about let's grow something quite big,
Right.
right? You're abnormal. You got a team of people here, and how long ago when it was just you?
When it was just me, about 6 years ago, 5
Yeah,
years
6
ago.
years ago, right? And so how many people do you know that have gone from 1 to, I don't know,
18.
18, right?
Yep.
Not too many.
Right.
Right. So, that's just the nature of it, is the narrowing down of the who. Who is the first question? Who do I serve, right? You guys do a lot of that in tuning your advertising, right?
Yep. And what we not only do for our customers, we do it for ourselves, because
Yeah.
we niched and then we went niched again.
Of course.
And we keep niching, kind of like what you were saying, like start making the cuts. So initially we were like everything fitness.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, we don't do great for personal trainers
Yeah.
with our strategy of fitness. The coach and the consulting was different.
Yeah.
But as far as like what our advertising structure was,
yeah.
same thing with like CrossFit,
Yeah.
and same thing with the like boot camp, certain things like
Yes.
that. So we started going, okay, who do we work best with? And we realized that was Pilates, yoga, Orange
Yeah.
Theory, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And but yeah, I mean, we've definitely niched several times.
Yeah.
Even within the services that we provide, we used to do all this for them.
Right.
And then we niched that too.
Right.
You can either choose to help more types of people less, or you can choose to help less types of people
Yeah.
more. And the
Right.
funny thing is, when we used to help dentists, doctors,
Yeah.
attorneys, all that,
I know.
but we never had more than 42 clients in 6 years.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we made
That
the
is the
switch, we worked with over 450
Right.
in 18 months.
Right. And you know why? Because if you're a fitness gym owner, or you're a really good dentist, and you've got a business and you want to add fuel to it to make it go, you want to find the best in the world for you.
Right.
And if you say, I do a little, like if I hurt my knee, I don't want to go to a general practitioner that says, I fix common colds and I do this. I want to go to somebody who does nothing but knees.
Right.
Right? And by the way, who makes the most money in medicine? The specialist.
Oh, right. Not the guy,
Right.
not the general.
The knee surgeon for pro sports athletes.
Right.
Right? So that's a focus, right? Which is a stronger word than niche, right? That, you know, because it just kind of feels bad in my brain.
I like the word focus better.
So there's power in that, right?
Right.
And the signal goes out farther, and you can do great things for them, right? And by the way, there's great math for most companies. Like in your fitness gyms, you say there's yoga and fitness and Orange Theory and a few others. Like, how many of there are out there that are at that serious level? I mean, it's not a million, but it's how many?
Oh, we can get to at least a few thousand, maybe even up to 10,000.
Right. And so how many do you have now?
450.
Yeah. Right. So you could triple your business and not change anything, right?
100%.
And so, but that's inside our brains. That's entrepreneur brain. This is a brain-to-brain problem. Your brain says, but I could do all this. I could make all this food, right? And every restaurant serves one kind of food, right?
Right.
You know? So the other side is you got fitness owners out there saying, I'm Googling it. Fitness, business, you know, agency, marketing. Right?
And it's easy to find.
That's what Google is a reflection of what happens on our brains on the other side. They don't have complicated survival brain making payroll. I'm a master of the universe. I could do all this stuff brain. They're on the other side saying, I got 26 problems. Maybe I'll look at this one today. Who's the best in the world that can solve it right away for me? And they're looking for the specialist who comes to the top of the list, who's best in their market. Okay.
I mean, I would feel, if I let's say wanted to add a marketing team, and I had to choose between either A, a marketing team, or B, a marketing team that specifically helps podcasts between 50 to 100 episodes get to 1,000.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's how our brains work, right? And by the way, even if you didn't do anything differently, if you said that, we would hear it differently.
Yep.
Right? So in Hollywood, the actors who make the most money are typecast.
Or what?
Dwayne the right typecast, meaning they do one thing. They're known for one thing. They always play the same role.
Like Vince Vaughn is the same guy almost every time.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Denzel Washington.
Dwayne the Rock. Okay? You know he's going to rip off his shirt. He's going to make some funny jokes. There'll be guns. There'll be a blow-em-up scene. And he makes more money than anybody. Okay? It's just hard for our brains. So now we're back to, you know, the human brain problem. I want to do all this stuff, but the outside world wants the best in class.
So let's say I own a fitness studio, and help me make the shift. Okay,
Yes.
this is what you do for a living.
Yes.
So I own a fitness studio, and let's say I have 200 members.
Yes.
Okay, 200 members that are paying right now about $150 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, and as of right now, I do what's called HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. It doesn't matter.
Is that a little different for everybody, or is it the same program?
Yeah, so for the most part, it's the same, but it's such a broad type. I mean, HIIT training is just, all it means is high intensity. So we're just going back to the heart rate.
Bucket with anything, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what we do. And as far as who we work with, I mean, right now we just need to make payroll. So
you get it. Yeah.
We get anybody. So right now, I'm not part of a franchise.
Yeah.
Name of my company, I got real egotistical with it, and I called it Mike Fitness.
Yes.
Right? And that's my business. So what are some suggestions? Should I change the name?
Okay, the first of all thing is, congratulations.
Okay.
Like, you've made it 3 more stages than anybody else who was smart and energetic and got into the game, started a fitness studio, got the rent and got the weights and got the thing going.
Okay.
Getting to 250 means you're pedaling hard, you know, you found some things that worked and all that kind of stuff. But you're still kind of a generalist. Right? So, and that can work depending on your region, right? In the physical universe with retail stores and restaurants, right? If you're the only one within 1,000 miles, you can be a generalist.
Okay.
Right? But if...
Because there's no other options.
Yes,
anyway.
and so that, you know, and you could probably do kidney dialysis
Where
and make
you
burgers.
focused was the location.
Yeah,
That's
if you're the only station in between there and the Grand Canyon, right, 1,000 miles either direction, you could sell candy bars and gas and tchotchkes and whatever, right?
Yep.
So, but that's not how the world works now, okay? Because there's somebody coming in next door to you. And there's how many in any major metro area?
Oh gosh, it's so competitive, the space.
Okay. If you go online, it's worse. And I'm just going to exaggerate here. Like, My name is Greg Head, and I kind of own the monopoly for Greg Head in Phoenix, and people I know think it's a funny name, and nobody else knows Greg Head. Right? But you know how many Greg Heads there are on LinkedIn right now?
Probably a lot.
There's 63.
Wow.
So in the internet thing, where everybody's on Main Street, right next to me, right? If you just one click away, there's 63 of them, right? Which is very different in the world. So, you know, if you're competing on the internet, and there's 63 that say fitness in this town, and we have, by the way, and they all have happy customers. They're good people.
They all do. They all work hard. They care.
It's a clean facility. It works good and everything. The bar is raising. The water level's coming up fast, right? So sorry to all of us. Sorry to big companies who are getting disruptive. Right. Sorry to agencies that there's more agencies coming into business. Sorry. That's just the nature of the game. So there's a musical chairs game that's happening. And if you don't, so that's the good news. You have that. You can look inside that business and say, where is the good stuff?
Okay.
What are you best at? What is the competition not doing? Where are you pleasing people the most? And they say, thanks, I'll come back for more.
Okay.
Long-term customers, right? You know, and so that's actually kind of the game. You actually have to play a game in between. And it's a musical chairs game. It depends on the competition here.
So let's say I decided to go ahead and do all that. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah.
And so now I've changed my name. And let's just say now I decided, you know what? We have a spin room, you know, spinning.
Yeah.
We have a spin room, and it's doing
I don't look like I know spinning, but I know spinning.
Well, some people know it as cycle and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got a spin room, right? I actually have a friend of mine that has a hit studio and a spin room.
Yeah.
She goes, man, but we're just driving a lot of business through the spin, and most of our customers are women, and we do really well.
Yeah.
So let's say I start a new company, or just modify it, and I call it She Spins.
There you go.
That's what I call it. And now I'm just going to focus on...
I just want to say two things. So those are two very specific... There's a structure to this game.
Right.
Right? It isn't just random and, hey, focus and specialize. You specialize on who you sell to.
She, female.
Yes, right. If everybody to, you know, females. And the other one is what you sell.
Cycle.
Cycle.
Yep.
And you actually captured both of those.
So that's good.
Right.
We're good.
That's right.
Okay, so now She Spins.
Yes.
I got that. And now we changed the colors around. Now we have this beautiful white, purple, and pink flow going to us.
Yeah.
People love it. It looks great. We hired an interior person to come and make it look right. Okay, so now She Spins. The door's got to open, though. Someone's got to come through. How do I get people to know about She Spins? How do I get people to want to be a part of it and say that's better than...
Well, I don't know. That sounds like maybe what a marketing professor would recommend, right? You know, in the firefight of the business is you can look inside your business and say, boy, look at all these folks over here. I'm going to call them and say, what do you really like about it? And I'm going to call the people that didn't stay very long and say, how come you didn't stay very long?
Right.
And you realize they love a certain thing that these people didn't, right? And then you say, well, you know, let's start with that. You got to, I don't know, you just don't lay everybody off and spend your life savings and the rest.
Right.
You have to survive to get there, right? And that's part of why it's difficult. You got to have two jobs, right? Keep doing the, you know, the HIT training while you're building this thing up.
Right.
Okay? So in the software tech world, people say, I want to raise some money so I can go do this thing. And most people don't raise money, they just bootstrap it. But you literally have two jobs. One is the survival, pay the bills, and the other is to build up the thing, right? Unless you have enough money and you can wait it out.
We had to do the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
We still have, I think, 6 or 7 clients out of that, whatever it was, that are, like, I think we have one dentist, I think we have a jeweler or something. So we still have those businesses, but we were up to like 40, 45 of them, and whittle down, and then
so
this part grew.
And the reality is, every time, right, you start a business, and then you do a sorting, and you say, oh, there's She Spins in there. Wow, that's a better business.
Right.
How do I get 2 more She Spins and let 2 more go over here in a gradual way? And eventually you let it go and say, that's close enough, I'm totally committed. Because here's the deal: if you're a little bit of everything to everybody, hey world, we're a little bit of everything to everybody. Can you advertise for me?
Yeah, I don't hear you.
No, you say no thanks. I'll go find somebody who knows what they're doing, right? You could advertise the heck out of She Spins.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because the thing
especially on Facebook.
is, you'll hear that even if they're not talking to you. If I'm at a barbecue and I'm talking to you, we're having a great conversation, and I just hear somebody say, yeah, I actually help people that are running podcasts, get off the ground. I'm like, hold on a second. As opposed to if he could tell me, he goes, yeah, I help people with marketing. I go, okay, I don't hear it.
Right.
You talked a lot about partnerships, so I agree. I think partnerships is a great way to build a business. So who would I want to meet in my community in order to get more in front of more people that she is?
Yeah.
Because she would like to spin, and
So it doesn't have to be advertising. It could be partner with women's organizations. It could be go find a pocket of women who love this thing and get
which
them
are
to tell
a ton
friends.
of women's organizations, women's groups, stuff like that.
And you could have a whole thing. It is, you kind of have to decide: is it an intense competitive thing, and is that the minimum bar? Maybe it is, right? Because just like guys, there's some people who, if they see a competitive game they're in, they're like, I'm in.
Right.
What is it? What are we doing? It's competitive. Not everybody's like that. Not every woman is competitive.
Well, like for ours, with partners, we were like, okay, well, we know that we want to work with fitness studio owners that want to grow. And they believe that the internet's a way to do it.
Yeah.
And so there's companies out there that we worked with, like Startup Active. They just do web design for fitness studios. Now, if you're about to get a website, that's because you've made a decision. I need to pay more attention to my digital side, and obviously if it's just fitness. So going with them, same thing for you guys. If you're targeting women, I mean, obviously there's a lot of women's groups, and with social media, it's great. There are certain channels that women like to tune into, certain shows, podcasts, magazines that they prefer to read, and then. Which one? Like Scottsdale Health. I know Scottsdale Health has a higher demographic of women, and can we actually put an ad out on there? Would that maybe worth it? Or podcasts, which are usually free. There are so many podcasts that are hosted just for women. And then you can take those interviews, take a clip of it, and then you can advertise that to your 5-mile radius in Facebook by boosting it out to the women. They can see, wow, this is really cool. You don't take the whole interview, but let's say that one piece where you're talking about how great it was to niche and go, maybe it's a 2-minute thing. I could take that one clip and I can advertise that to people that really believe in that, right?
So that really gets me
credibility.
thinking, by the way, when you get through the pinhole there, competitive women who want an intense group-oriented
and they're dedicated
fitness.
to make a change right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or get to the next level, right? Or something like that. There's all kinds of ways to go after it, right? And now there's 100 ways you could play. That's usually when you've kind of sensed the release, like, okay, I give up trying to be everything to everybody. I tried 3 times. I'll give up. Competitors are coming. I got to change my game here. And then, there's a little, which one is it? What do I focus on? But in all cases, when they say, all right, I won't go after everybody, it's going to be these people, and by the way, it's really just these people, it makes execution like 10 times easier. Those messages can hear. Just do it. Nike's first shoe campaign wasn't for everybody. It was a beacon for the people who were already intense, who would have done P90X and CrossFit and fitness training at the time, which is like 5% of the population. Right? But then everybody said, oh, I want to be like that. That was the second thing.
Right. The cool thing too is when you target on a person, what she wants to read and hear about. So the content, the videos you put out. Right. And like what you talked about, we did too. We niched within the niche, right? Maybe you realize that your best
focus
customers.
Within your focus.
Focus within your focus, yes. Maybe you notice that while you're doing that and you look at all your customers, you want to find out who your best members are, and you go, you know what? Out of all the people we love, it's the new moms. We really like women that just had kids or they have young children. Okay, great. You can actually do this one tactic where it's awesome. Retargeting has been incredible, where you can write blogs or make videos. Blogs work really well for the strategy, and it could be something titled like how to get your toddler to eat more vegetables. And then what you do is you post that and you put a retargeting pixel on that blog. You boost that out to women between the ages of 20 and 30, or maybe 20 and 35, and when they click on it, if I don't have a toddler, I'm not clicking on that. Or if I don't care about fitness and health, I'm not clicking on that. But if I click on that and I get added to your custom audience, you can assume that not only do I have a young child, but I also am health conscious. And so now you start running your ads only to the people that have clicked on that blog or watched that video for 10 seconds or more. Because now with Facebook, you could actually say, hey, if they've watched at least 10 seconds of this, now show them this. Or if they've watched 30, you can say that. So really put out the bait. Put out the bait. And it's kind of like you catch a small fish just to use it for bait for the bigger fish. Yeah. So put out some bait just to start getting some attention and building your list in a more refined way, and then advertise to that list. Because like you said, you don't want to show your ads to the woman that wants to stay on the couch.
Yeah, you don't want to go to the whole lake. You want to get you want to be shooting fish in a barrel over here.
Right.
To play with your analogy.
Right. So who is it you're going after? If it is the mom with toddlers, write a few pieces. I guarantee you, you answer questions like that all the time. Somebody's coming to you and said, what kind of vegetables do most kids like? Right? Or how do I get what are some things that have protein in it that I can give my child for breakfast? He only wants like bread and bagels and stuff like that. Okay, now you answer that question in a video and then boost that out and see who likes it. And then the funny thing is, the people that like it, the people start interacting with it, those are the people you run ads to. So for you guys that are watching, for you guys that are listening, I know we've talked about this slightly before. We got somebody in here that's been a part of two explosive companies with Infusionsoft and SalesLogix, and their businesses have been built on the practices and the principles that we've just talked about in this episode. And it is scary, I'm not gonna lie. Going down and being narrow is a scary thing. I was scared of it too. But I will tell you that it was the best decision I ever made in my life, and I know a lot of people that have done it before I did. They were kind of people that encouraged me, but also people that are doing it right now, and they all say the same. So as long as you are able to find a great focus, be great at, build mastery around it, get that message out, you're gonna do great.
And your advertising will work better.
100%. Oh yeah, we do way better with people that are focused.
Right. You have to do a little therapy when people say, I want to put 6 things in the ad, and you're like, I've won.
Yeah, 100%. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Greg, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
And we will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.